Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in, of course. Now, before I begin this week's Cosmic Vibes video, keep in mind I'm going live right here on YouTube. Circle your calendars, Friday, October the 24th, and doing some free clairvoyant psychic readings for you. So, messages, I have no idea what messages are going to be coming in for you from the spirit world. I go with the now. What do I expect in a reading? I have no idea. Whatever comes through from the spirit world is meant for you. So if you do want to tune in, 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern, or 11 a.m. Pacific, join me right here live on YouTube, and I will give you a free reading. That's right. Or you can book soulworkwithjenny.com. Now, how many of you are going to be there? I'm going to be there, right? So now let's talk about what's coming up this week, you guys. From the 18th of October to the 24th, there's a lot happening, like every day. One of the things that I'm not going to be liking that's happening is we're moving into the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde. Sweet Lord, have we not had enough? So Mercury retrograde, of course, starts in November. However, when we have the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde for 3 weeks, that can actually be more harder than the actual retrograde. So really pay attention to the next 3 weeks here with the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde, because it's going to give you kind of like that insight of what's coming in the actual retrograde. So make sure that if there's certain electronics, like that you need to get fixed, do it now before the actual retrograde. So we always get these kind of wonkiness happening during the Mercury retrograde season with communication, with electronics, technical. Those are the worst things, as far as I'm concerned. So just really pay attention to if you're having troubles with your electronics technology now, get it fixed, as I mentioned, right? Just to kind of give you that little heads up. We also have Scorpio season here moving in this week. How many of you guys are Scorpios? So, what does Scorpio represent? Death, rebirth, transformation. And when that Scorpio transformation comes in, transformations go either way, either or. So, as I'm always stating, write down what you need to resolve. Write down that, what, spirit, I need a little extra help with this or that. Write it down, spirit, please guide me to the right person or the location or, whatever it is. I am open to resolving the situation. If it's with a certain person, let's say, it's really important to resolve issues as best as you possibly can, because Mercury retrograde, it brings in people from our past, lovers. It can bring in like anybody, literally. So you're going to start seeing those kind of pre-shadows coming in as the energy starts, right? So whenever you have people from your past coming back, it can be a really, really positive thing. Like there's some people that just pop in for a season or a cycle just to apologize, or you can forgive, or you can start something new with. There's a lot happening, a lot happening. And we also have this new moon in Libra on the 20th and 21st. So let's just start this week off here on the 18th and 19th. So you're going to be feeling a little bit more emotional. Really? Again? Yes. We still have the Chiron energy, but it's going to be stronger this weekend, the 18th and the 19th. So you could get triggered by anything, but it very well could be more triggered from your past. It could be feeling of, like rejection, your old wounds, abandonment. Maybe you're even, like meeting up with people this weekend, that you're like, I don't know how this is going to go. It could go either way, right? However, if you are meeting up with certain people, just, as I always say, like if I have like a challenging day, with like whatever it is, I will literally psych myself up every day, every morning. So I do have something I have to deal with this weekend, actually, on Saturday. I'm like, oh my God, that's when that energy falls there. Oh, so I'm going to be psyching myself up to be, what, it's going to be an amazing day. Everything's going to flow so magically and beautifully. Everything's going to be so peaceful. So when you psych yourself up like that, it really changes the vibrational frequency of how you present yourself, because you don't want to be dealing with drama and negativity and all of those things. Of course, who does want that? So you're going to find that your heart is also going to be healing with that Chiron energy, from past situations. Healing can be in any way, shape, or form. You're going to know and you're going to feel it of what your soul is going to be bringing more to present of what you're healing from within. You're going to be really feeling it. So you're going to be wanting to be very, like gentle with yourself. You're going to be wanting to, doing a lot more reflecting this weekend as well. And you're also going to be showing certain toxic, like patterns or behaviors that you need to still work through. Like there's always something we all have to work through or let go or whatever. That's a part of life, right? But if there's something that you're struggling with, spirit, you know what? Please, like take it easy with me. But you know what, spirit, I'm open for things to resolve itself peacefully. I want to heal. I am open to heal because when you get triggered, you very well could be like, I don't want to deal with that now, of course, right? However, if you keep on pushing it under the rug, as I call it, it's just going to keep on following you and it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. So it's always important to speak from your heart. So let's say if you have to meet up with someone and you're like, I don't know about this, take a look at how your actions are. So it's more important for you always, as I say, to speak from your heart, truth, honesty, from integrity. If somebody, let's say, said something very negative to you to hurt you or to trigger you, it really says everything about who they are, but it's how you react to that. Of course, like, of course, you have to stand up for yourself and all of those things. However, when you're dealing with somebody of a very low energy, it's not going to matter what you say because they're not going to want to hear it because they live in that ego of only their thoughts. So this is when it's like sometimes it's just not even worth it just to say anything or anything. It's like getting a really, really rude message, right? Or hurtful message from somebody, and you're like, oh my God, like sometimes it's better just to delete it. Sometimes you can hold on to that message, put it away. You might want to deal with it at another time, or really look at who the person is. They could be hurting themselves, or it very well could just be who they are. That there are some people that are ignorant, arrogant, rude, all of those things, but you don't need to get involved with them, right? So I'm just saying this weekend could be a little up there, right? Because as we're coming into that new moon in Libra on the 20th and 21st, you are going to get triggered with emotions on the weekend as we get closer to the new moon. It's just automatically going to be bumpy, and plus there's so much solar flares and solar storms constantly going on. Just when things start to calm down, boom, solar storms come in, solar flares, and you're like, which can also cause technology issues, electronical issues. It causes like disruptions where you're like, why am I so exhausted? Right? Headachy, flu type, like body aches. It really can do a lot to you physically and to the entire world. You know what I mean? It affects Mother Nature and your animals too. So really, pay attention to your animals. Like anytime there's kind of like a significance cosmically, I always would pay attention to my animals more, and they need a lot more love. They need a lot more compassion. just to be held. Because when you hold your animal, have you noticed that your blood pressure starts to calm down? Animals are pure love. So our animals, they need love, of course, and they're there to love us. So that's one of the things I miss having, when I have dogs, is because if you're feeling a little sad, let's say, you hold on your dog. Do you notice how you can calm down? Or you hold on to your cat? You notice how you can really calm down? Right? So just give them a little bit more love and compassion as well, because they get affected. So they're going to be acting out to this as well. So when we have the Libra new moon, of course, new moons are very powerful more than full moons. Libra wants balance. So whatever is out of balance, it's really going to be shown even more to you. And this is when you're going to be like, all I just want is just peace and harmony. Peace and harmony. However, this is the time when you're like, okay, so what is really truly not working? What am I like struggling with? What am I so angry about, or all of these things? What can I do about it? Because we can't brush it aside. It's not going to change. The only way we'll see changes is to start to make change happen. But I don't know, I'm not happy with this or this or that, then change it. But what about my person? What about your person? Have that talk with your person or somebody. That's that Venus energy we just had as well. Talk to them, communicate with them, and so on and so on. So you're also going to find with the Libra energy, there's going to be a lot more agreements coming in, new contracts, new agreements, negotiations, all of that. So just really pay attention to these contracts, because now's the time when you really want to sign contracts. Like I just recently had to sign a contract myself. It's a renewal, but I was really glad to do it now. I'm contacted them saying, hello, hello, don't forget about Jenny, right? Oh yeah, sorry. Boom, let's get it done and out of the way, right? So really pay attention to new contracts coming in, and of course, really review it. So you might even find that during this new moon, family conflicts start to calm down better because of the Libra wants things to balance. So if you're arguing or having some disagreements or misunderstandings with family during that new moon, it very well could be calming down. Thank the Lord, right? So this is the balance. This is the balance in relationships with everybody, anybody. Yeah, but I don't want that person. Then get rid of them. Like, whenever I have to let somebody go, I never wish them any harm ever, ever. It's like, we just don't get it. We just don't, we're on the different page. But I still wish them the best, and at another time, we could hook up and reconnect. It's like that Mercury retrograde. When people start coming back from the past, you could heal past relationships with them that, maybe you had some conflicts or arguments and you hadn't talked to each other for a long time or whatever. This is the time to really resolve this, and to especially balance out giving and receiving during this new moon. As I always say, if you're the one that's constantly giving and giving and giving, you're sending that vibrational frequency out that you're not open to receive. So this is why we have to set boundaries. This is why we have to balance out the giving and the receiving. So this is when, the pre-shadow of Mercury retrograde also starts during this new moon, because it starts officially on the 9th and 10th of November. So if you're looking at something now, let's say if you're looking at renewing something, that's still perfectly okay during Mercury retrograde because it's been ongoing. But if it's something brand new, that's when you're going to be like, I don't know about this, right? So this is the time now to really pay attention to what needs to get reviewed. Giving and receiving. Maybe some of you guys are signing a new contract with a business agreement. Maybe some of you are getting a raise, like whatever it is. There's always things that we have to deal with and sort out and everything like that. And you might even find this week that you're going to be decluttering more as well. like here we're in the autumn. I love the autumn, and different seasons can kind of push you to, I just want to, like, I dewinterized my yard yesterday. I was like throwing my flowers out. We had a snowstorm with that sudden solar storm, that came in. And I'm like, oh my God. It's like, I'm not surprised. I'm used to it here, right? So, of course, all my flowers died. So, yesterday, I had to throw my flowers out and such like that, and put my flower pots away, and just different things like that, right? So maybe some of you are like, okay, now I got to, depending where you are, depending what season you're in as well. Maybe some of you are like, wow, this is my springtime, or this is like, all of those. So take advantage of this energy right now with this new moon. Set intentions, vision boards, manifesting, all of that. Recreate, like your crystals. You can put your crystals outside under the new moon. If it's a really good evening to catch the stars, photographers like taking photos of the stars. If it's too cloudy, that's not going to work, right? So, drink a lot of water. Make sure that you listen to your intuition, because you're going to be a lot more intuitive. New moons, there's a lot more passings going on with your pets, with people. So always listen to that inner voice. Geez, maybe I should phone that person, or boy, maybe I should send them a message because something's telling me something's not right. Pay attention to that. Right. So October 22nd, 23rd, this is when you're really, really, really going to see a lot more truth coming through, more reality with things. So maybe, for instance, if you thought, that's my soulmate, that's my person, all of those things, you very well could be getting that rude awakening, because you're going to be seeing different sides of that person. It's like the mask falls off, and then all of a sudden you see the person for who they really are. So this is really important when you're going to be seeing reality compared to illusion, reality versus truth versus illusion. This is a really big week for that as well. So it's important to look at reality, not the fantasy, but I wanted this and I wanted that and all of that. Okay, create your dreams, vision board, goals. However, let's also pay attention to the reality of the situation. Oh, yeah, but this and this and this, I get it. But look at the reality. What do you want? Like, what do you truly want? Yeah, but I know that this person is just this, and that. And eventually, I understand that, of course. However, look at the reality with it. Look at the reality. Oh, this person will divorce eventually. Like they've been, we've been together for this time, and they keep on telling me that it's just not the right time, or this and that. Let's look at reality with that. Hello. Certain things, you're going to see the reality, right? It could be certain things that you got promised, all these things with a business partner, and you're seeing it's just a bunch of bullshit. You clearly seen that all of these things aren't happening. Like, it's not happening. Like it could be with your job. I've been promised a raise for 100 years. I've never gotten it. Like, just things like that. You're seeing more reality. Truth exposed. That is nothing new. But this week, things are really going to come to the surface even more. Even you're going to get triggered on the 22nd and 23rd with family situations again. Just after the calm, things you could easily get triggered with something. So you could find that you're a little bit more sensitive with family situations as well, no matter what it is. And it's time to look beyond delusions with situations. You very well could have had that calmness, right? And then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. You know what I mean? So it can trigger you even more. So you're going to be a little bit more emotional. Vivid dreams. I want you guys to really have a notebook besides your bed or wherever you're sleeping, because the dreams are going to be coming in more and more and more. Even when my mom passed away on the 5th of October this month, actually, she came into my dream the next night, and I'm like, oh, okay, it wasn't nothing profound or anything like that. It was just a little bit of a message. But anytime you have someone that has passed on, your pets, somebody you know, family, whoever, that's them. They're there to give you a message. If you don't understand the message, write down as much details as you can humanly possible. You can always book a reading with me, soulworkwithjenny.com, and I'll tell you exactly what that message is, what it's mean, all of those things. But just really write it down, like really, really keep track of that, because there's messages in all of our dreams. And it can be very profound in many, many different ways. So you're going to find that as you're waking up, boy, whew, you could be feeling really nervous. You could be feeling scared. You could be feeling at peace. You could be like, oh my God, what did that dream mean? Like, oh my gosh, things like that. So this is also the time when you could get creative, a lot more creative energy coming in. Pay attention to that. I love it whenever we go into those kind of creative sparks, like, oh yeah, I want to do that. I'm going to work. Oh, that's such a great idea. Or maybe I'm going to do this, whatever it is. Creative energy opens up. It can really change your life direction in so many different ways. Wow, that idea. Wow, I get it. I was feeling so stuck and boom, now I know what to do. It really can make a huge, huge difference. So this is the time when your heart's going to be open even more and more and more and more, even when there's certain conflicts coming in, because whenever there are conflicts, what do people do? They put their guards up. They're like, all of that. However, whenever there's a conflict, what I'll do is I'll kind of take that step back. I observe, like I'm always an observer. I observe a lot of different things and I don't say much at all. I just keep it to myself, but I observe a lot, you know. So it's like whenever there's conflicts and it's really affecting you or in whatever way, make sure that when you have that conversation with someone that you're calm. Because whenever we're too emotional, we're going to say things or do things that we're like, we regret. That's normal. Our emotions are high. You da da da. Of course it is. So go for a walk, do whatever it takes to calm down first before you reach out to the person, and keep in mind that when you're dealing with somebody that doesn't want to listen to what you say, this is when you have to sit back and say, is it worth it? Is it worth it for me to even put myself in the jeopardy? And it's not worth my peace of mind. So go on your own flow. Like this is like a lot of truths coming out with things, a lot of reality this week. But you have to be open to seeing the truth and the reality. It's like, as we get closer to the year end, there's somebody that's scrambling. Oh my God, wow, we really didn't do a good job. We really didn't do all of these things we promised. Now we're scrambling to get all of these things done to make ourselves look good. I see it. I see it all. Right. So things like this, you're going to notice if you've been paying attention. Observe, look at the situation. You can see it. So pay attention to that. So you're going to find that you're going to be creating different bonds with people as well as you're letting go of people, situations that you're like, I can't do this anymore. It's not working. You're going to start getting drawn to other people, more people of your vibrational frequency that you're like, you know what? I connect with this. I can see that they're very honest and all of these things. And it's not the this and this and that, right? Because we hitting Scorpio season on the 22nd. Happy birthday, Scorpios. Who's the Scorpio? Who's all Scorpio? So you're going to be really, really evaluating so much this week, right? Scorpio, transformation, rebirth. Death. For every death, there's a rebirth. For every, like rebirth, there's a death, and so on and so on and so on. You're going to be more determined. You're going to be more focused on things. You're going to be like, I've had enough of this. I've had enough of that. I'm now more determined to do this or to do that, and so on. So you're really going to see what you need to do on the 24th of October. You're going to be like, you know what? Wow, I really need to let this go. I'm done. I'm done with this. This is not working for me anymore, no matter what. Pay attention to what happens on the 24th. You're going to be more intuitive, as I mentioned. So really listen to what messages are coming through. You're going to see a lot more clarity. You're going to be a lot more focused with the direction of where you want to go through. You're going to walk away from what's draining you. You're going to be walking away from, I can't do this anymore. It's just not going anywhere. No, it's just not working out anymore for in whatever reason. Like for every ending, there's new beginnings. Maybe your cycle with that person is over with, and you're going to be opening up new doors because you're seeing more truth. You're seeing more reality this week, right? Truth versus illusions. Illusions versus reality. We can all dream. We can all fantasize. That's perfectly healthy. But look at the reality. Boy, I want to buy a house tomorrow. Okay, do you have a down payment? Do you have? No. Okay, let's start planning that. Let's start manifesting. The reality is, can you go out and buy a house today? No, that's reality. Oh, I want my castle. I want this and this and that. That's great. That's great. Start building that dream for yourself. So, really pay attention because all of these broken promises and scams and all of these things, it's coming through. It's coming through more and more and more and more. Scrambling at the last minute to do this and this. Boy, we didn't do all of these things we were supposed to do, and we told that person we did. So now we're scrambling to last minute this and this to make ourselves look good. I see it. So let's pull a couple of cards, of course. I don't use cards when I'm with a client at all. I'm clairvoyant psychic medium. However, we're on YouTube here, and I'm going to pull a couple of cards to see what messages are for you. Like not all you guys are going to be like, oh, I didn't get that message, or of course not. Of course not, right? So let's have a little chat with the Ascended Masters, shall we, with Doreen Virtue. What messages are for you from the 18th to the 24th? What messages are coming through? What messages are coming through? The 18th to the 24th. 18th to the 24th of October. Oh, how amazingly perfect is that card? Detach from drama. Look at this. Look at that. Yes, right? Illusions versus truth versus reality this week. I'm not going to get involved with that. That's just drama. No, I don't do drama. No, I don't. No, I don't want to go down to that level. There's a difference of having an adult conversation with truth and integrity than sitting back and listening to somebody bullshit, bottom line, about this and this and this and that to make themselves look good, all of you, whatever. Do you know what I mean? So it's really important for you to try to stay in more higher consciousness. You know what I mean? Stand back, do what it takes to keep yourself grounded, feeling good, right? Certain things that we thought was going to happen or work out, it didn't. We gave it our best go, didn't work out. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not saying you're a failure. The universe very well could be like, you know what? We're going to be redirecting you now over this direction, or we want you to move ahead. We want you to do this and that. So we're going to remove this or these people or whatever it is, because we're taking you on a better direction now. You got to trust that. Like, it can be really scary walking into the unknown. I mean, I walk into the unknown all the time, like you, but it can be really scary for some people. So you really got to show yourself little compassion and love at times. You do. You really do. So let's have a little chat with Earth Magic by Stephen Farmer. So Earth energy, you're going to want to be grounded. This new moon, new moons can be very emotional. So, when it gets emotional, like we all handle our emotions in different ways. So do whatever it takes to, get grounded or to stay calm, no matter what. Wow. Just right away, this card flew out. Like, this is how the cards talk to me. I have the card here of shaman, ancient healing wisdom. Wow. What did I mention this week? Healing, Huron energy, old wounds. You're going to be getting triggered. Maybe some of you have been going through like a lot of health issues, let's say. This is the year of, the year of the snake, which is about healing, rebirth, transformation, shedding old skin to bring in new skin. And this is year of completions, universal mind number. So maybe some of you have not been well, let's say, and now you're better. Now you're getting things underway. You dealt with all of these situations. And it's not just that, like healing could be anything. Maybe it's from a relationship that ended, maybe there was a death, maybe, like whatever it is, right? And sometimes we're going to be like, you know what, I just feel like I'm going to do this or I want to do that. Go by what feels right for you as you go through your healing process, right? Like some people like to be alone, some people like to be around other people. We all deal things in our own way. Always go on your own rhythm of what works for you. And some of you, how I said there could be like that change in career direction? This is a spiritual year, believe it or not, even though if you're like, then it sure doesn't feel that way, right? This is a really, really spiritual year. So, a lot of people have changed career directions. They're like, you know what? I don't want to do this anymore. I want to be more of service, or this is where like I'm just really drawn to that. I want to help create world peace, or I want to help humanity to be more of service. Like, how many of you have felt that and changed your career? Let me know. Make some notes, you guys. Let me know what's going on. Make sure you like the video too, right? So let me know. Maybe some of you are going to be like, you know what, I'm signing up. I want to learn how to be a shaman or natural medicines or natural healing ways. Listen to your heart. Your soul is there to guide you in different directions and ways during different cycles and all of that. So we have to go through certain things so it can end, this being a completion year, to take us on our next journey to where we're going to be. We have to trust that in a positive way, no matter what happens. So let's all have a little chat here with some animals. I'm also an animal communicator with Diana Cooper, Archangel Animal. And for those of you who know what I'm doing here when it comes down to animals, oh, sweet Lord, Tammy, my friend Tammy, come over. I've known her since I was like 14, and she's like, Jenny, you have two of everything. And I'm like, I know, just don't go there. I'm going to do this the next day. No, I want that, right? So just go with the flow, go with the flow. But I'm prepared no matter what. Go in your own flow. We're not going to talk about that. But anyways, October 18th to the 24th. And with this new moon, as I mentioned, really pay attention to your pets, right? They get affected. Show them some more love. Solar flares, your pets very well might not be hungry. At least, make sure there's tons of water out for them, because we should be drinking a lot more water during the solar flares. We should be drinking a lot of water regardless, but solar flares, solar storms, you're going to be a lot more thirsty. So when you're feeling that headache coming on, drink a lot more water. That's your body's way of saying I'm dehydrated. When you're tired, drink a lot more water as well, right? So what's the message? 18th to the 24th of October. I'm also putting classes together, you guys. It's going to take time. So how many of you are interested in that? Oh, look at this card here. Tiger. Accept Your Magnificence by Archangel Raphael. You. Look at that. Look at that. We all have our own talents and gifts and abilities and skill sets. Always follow what you're passionate about, no matter what it is. I've known people who, have gone to university and just different degrees and all of these things, and at the end of their finale, they're like, I have my degree to be this, and I don't want to do that anymore. I want to be more of service. I want to be like all of that. Listen to that. But don't think that what a waste of time that was. No, take a look at what did you gain from that? What experience and wisdom did you learn from that? Because all of our other lifetimes, this is why I do past life readings as well. All of your other lifetimes, you're the same person. So all of your experiences and wisdom and all of that from other lifetimes you bring into this lifetime. So, I mean, I read every night about things. I always will. The more you learn, the more you can help other people and so on. So let's just pull one more card, actually. I'm hearing, for some reason, Whispers of Healing by Angela Heartfelt and Josephine Wall. Considering, we're going to be healing with the Chiron energy. Healings are never easy, of course, but you got to be gentle to yourself. It's a message here. Everybody, collective energy. What's the message? What's the message? Sincere relationships. Like, oh my God, what was I talking about? What was I talking about here? There's going to be relationship shifts this week, right? Reality versus truth versus illusions. There's endings, also new moons, full moons, endings, new beginnings, all of those things. Your heart's going to be open. You're going to be opening your heart more to talk to somebody, even when you have to end a relationship or a job or like whatever it is. Speak with integrity from your heart and be really honest about it. Always, there shouldn't be. And this is really interesting because I'm going to show you the card in a minute. This card shows 4 different seasons of the year. It shows the winter, it shows the spring, it shows the summer, and the autumn. And it shows 2 people. Look at this. Look at that. You can't really see it because of the background. But you see how it shows relationships in general and all the different seasons? Like, how amazing is that? So you're going to be more drawn and pulled to your soul family, soul tribes, like best friends and stuff. Like I've known Cammie since I was 14. And believe me, I'm way beyond being 14 years old. We've known each other for decades and decades and decades. Either I know somebody forever or like just a short time period, right? So, just because, when you have a soul tribe in that, it doesn't mean that your friendship or connection or relationship is perfect. No, but we always work through it no matter what. There will be ups and downs. That's life. That's life. That happens. So how many of you guys are subscribing to my channel? How many of you guys are following me on Instagram, Jenny G Cousins? I have a group on Facebook, Higher Vibes with Jenny G Cousins. Join my group. There's content there I don't put on, other platforms here. Join me there. I'll I sign into Facebook every couple of days or so. So, you want to join my group? Click to join and I'll add you in. So how many of you are also going to be joining me right here on YouTube on the 24th of October live for a free reading, 12 noon Mountain Standard Time, 2 p.m. Eastern or 11 a.m. Pacific. So until next week's Cosmic Vibes, you guys, namaste.